Hello, party people, I guess today. Hello, party people, aka hello, coders. This is day 42 of 100 days of code with Leon Anderson. This is the code call, the daily stream where you can, if you are learning how to code, have people that code with you and learn how to code. And no matter where you are on your journey, you can always pick something up. That being said, let's introduce the one that you've been waiting for. Leon Anderson, how are you doing?
Hello. I'm doing great, Yeah, I finished the section on servers with Express. That was a lot of fun. And other than that, like yesterday, I was so damn tired after work. I I only looked very briefly into it and had to do the rest today. And did a lot of typing practice today as well. And had some other work stuff as well. So, but my symbol skills on the QWERTY keyboard are increasing, and yeah, creating the server was really fun, even though it's like very basic, obviously, but working with the terminal, writing and typing in there, and yeah, like doing the routing, and yeah, was fun. And I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing how this all plays together into some real projects. I think that is coming in a few sections, but even though it's not, even though it's still basic stuff, it's very cool, especially to see like, I mean, what I've seen before was opening HTML documents in the browser. I've seen that before the course as well, so that was not that astounding to me. But seeing that I can get real-time updates on getting that I've got a request from the browser inside of Node or inside of the terminal. That was awesome to see that this works and how these elements are interacting with each other. Funny thing, because we always had to stop and restart the server when we made a change. Sometime in between, I asked ChatGPT if there's a way to automatically restart the server, or to if there's a command or shortcut in Node.js to restart the Express server. And funny enough, a few lessons later was basically auto restart with exactly that, what I looked up. That was cool. Yeah, and yeah, seeing how this can interact with Postman as well was interesting, even though I had some privacy concerns. Like if I'm using Postman on my local host, like what access does the website get? I don't know. So the Postman stuff, I just watched code to that. And yeah, routing, what can I talk about? What can I share?
Would you be able to explain the example on screen, for example? Is that stuff that you already did?
Example of what?
the example on that's being shared right now on the screen.
Okay.
Would you be able to explain that? Or did you not
Yeah.
handle these things yet?
Yeah, sure. So at first we have to require Express, so we can run it with Node by running the server.js in Node. So basically we just write Node uh, node space server.js, enter, and then but we have to also, we don't have to just have it, but we also have to execute it, and we execute it by defining it as a separate function, basically, with const.app, const app equals express. I don't know, is that a function or a method?
So get and listen in this case would be methods because they are functions
Yeah,
on app.
but the express thing,
Well, express is just a function here.
function, got it. Because it doesn't have it isn't claimed as a function or defined as a function. That's why it's just const. So I was a bit confused how that can be a function if there is not function equals. But I guess that's inherent to the
Well, you could
express.
write something like this: function express or function get express, I guess, and that returns function express like this, and this would now return more like something that is an app basically, like with a send method, but does something, and get express is basically the equivalent to require express. So we would say const express 2 equals to get express, and now you can see in this code that this is what express 2 is now, right? So that is how express can be a function even if it's the result of another function.
Okay, because it's defined somewhere else.
Yeah, require basically is something like module.exports or equals to function express, and that does something, basically return this app thing here. So when we require it, then what we get is this function. Similar to how we saw a few days ago.
Yes. But we can use exports without module, right? There was something that we interested to.
Well, module.exports is the old way with require, and the newer syntax is just export, exactly, and import.
But you can mix the two inside of one document, right?
You can, yeah, but mixing a more document would be an anti-pattern, so you should stick with one of the two. And yeah, as soon as you are enabling import and export through your project configuration, you probably always want to use these two and never use module.exports and never use require.
Yeah. Got it.
No, the thing is, all projects that have import and export enabled support require, but not the other way around. So require and module.export you can use always, but import and export you can only use if you've deliberately configured it in your project.
Got it. I'm wondering when that is coming in the course. We'll see.
It will probably come when you do React, because React is always configured with import and export out of the box. So I think that's when you will first encounter it.
Okay. That's quite a while, I guess.
Yes, but no worries, like there are still projects, like even big projects that just use require and module.exports, and it's fine because it's just a different syntax, but yeah, for all intents and purposes, does the same thing.
Got it. Got it. Okay, so yeah, so I was in the beginning of explaining at the top line 2, basically. So we have to execute the function express, and we're basically defining it as app, as a variable app, and then we execute it by adding the methods onto it, right?
Well, get and listen are already methods from app, right? So saying we add methods to it would be like technically not correct, but what you're doing then is you're calling get to attach a handler to the slash route, for example, to the get for all get requests to the slash route, to the index route, basically.
But without having app dot something, express wouldn't be executed, right?
Well, the thing that's kicking everything off is the listen function here. That is the thing that basically when you run this file, causes the file to like never complete its execution, but run indefinitely and listen to all the HTTP requests that you send via Postman or whatever to your local server.
Got it. So yeah, you already started explaining some of the dot list, and basically, I don't know if that's always necessary. Probably, yeah. I guess it's always necessary in a server, but you define the port, which is basically like an address, and you define. You can give it a callback function that shows you inside of the terminal that the server has been started, that Express is listening, and on which port. And then you can access that port by going to your browser and typing localhost colon, and then in this case 3000. And well, when you type node server.js, you also directly see the console.log example, like app listening on port 3000. And then in the browser, you see first you see cannot get dash whatever you type after 3000, slash, not dash, always confusing those. And but that is already a sign of success that there is a connection, because otherwise there would be an error from the browser and not an error from the server. And then in order to have to get some signal from the server that the browser can show, you can start, for example, with app.get. In our example, we started with app.use, but it's very unspecific. So whenever there is a request, no matter what requests you get, you can get a response. But in this case that you showed, we get a response whenever there's a request on the main directory. which is indicated with that, or the home directory, which is indicated with a slash. And usually, as far as I know, the first server always has to show hello party people instead of hello world. So that's very important. And well, basically, if we would want, for example, localhost :3000 slash, yeah, I mean, Cole did the example of cats and dogs slash cats. We could have an individual response with res.send, then meow or hello cats, yes. And yeah, I think yeah, there's more stuff one can do. For example, app.get, and then then we can put a star inside of the quotes. This means that no matter where, what directory you get a response, and you can and you can use this basically as an error message as the very last get, because it will check first for all the paths that you put before, and if someone tries, for example, slash helicopters, but we don't have slash helicopters, we don't have anything prepared for that, then it would show the star response. And yeah, we can do stuff like defining paths or path patterns, just as one would have in Reddit. You can do that with an app.get slash, in this case, r slash colon subreddit, and then inside of the callback function, you can write const curly brackets subreddit equals request.params. This is basically accessing the parameters that someone sends inside, or that someone sends as the request. So, for example, if I would write localhost 3000 slash helicopters, I mean, we don't have that one, so it would show the anything response, the error response. So if I would write slash cats, then in the params, that's like a I don't know if it's an array or something where parameters get stored of the server, and you can access those with .params, for example, and then you could use that variable to put it inside of a res.send. So you could write like browsing then you do the curly brackets, subreddit. So basically, then it would say browsing the cats subreddit. This way you can, or you can do it with screenshot name hello and then request. Oh yeah, you could do it like that as well. Code did it by first putting it inside of const and then just putting the const inside. And yeah, this way you can structure the paths of your website or your server. And you can also do that with search requests, and you can create or prepare for different scenarios. For example, when you write /search, but then no search request afterwards, then you could write if there is no search request. So in this case, it would be if exclamation mark Q. You could rest.send or response.send nothing found if nothing searched, or you could and if not, you could send search results for $ curly brackets Q, and this way you can program the relationship between the URL and the use of the URL with your website sub sites, basically. And I think this also will be useful for API, for building the API for your website at some point.
Yeah, that's great. So I have one little challenge here for you. What would this route return? If, let's say, we call it with /users/1/node/foo, what would be the return result of this route?
Wouldn't it just show the path? So yeah, wouldn't it just show users /1/nodes/foo as what the browser is showing you then?
So what are the params? Like, I think you understood this one, right? That this returns hello John.
Yes.
So what, when we say, hey, we are sending back the params, what are the params?
In the case that you're asking for, the params are user ID and node ID.
Exactly. So what do you think gets sent back here?
User ID :1, node ID :foo.
Exactly. Yes, that's correct.
Nice. I like it.
Sweet. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think we've got examples for anything that you've mentioned. I love in how much detail you already understand it. It's a very core part of how the web works, and you just learned a very vital part about how the world works.
Yay. Cool.
Nice. Then
And that on day 42.
sorry.
And this on day 42,
Yeah,
the whole,
yeah.
the whole day.
That's a very important number because 42 is the answer to everything. And I think you could argue that servers are the answer to anything in this modern world. Yeah, this has been, if you've been tuning in, you've seen about what Leon learned about Express. He's been learning how to code for 42 days straight, and he's going to keep going to make it to 100 days. Let's see how far he gets. No matter where you are in your coding journey, if you need people who can teach you stuff or who you can learn together with, just tune in every day or watch the recordings on your own coding journey. If you have any questions, you can always leave them in the comments. We're going to answer every single comment as long as our viewership is still small. So thank you everyone for tuning in. This has been the Code Call Day 42 with
Leon Anderson and my mentor,
Alex Mills from 10x Dev. Thank you everyone.
Until tomorrow, party people.
Party people.